Hi, everyone. Um, Hope everyone's doing well. This is Leonore and Riley. Say hi, Riley.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing today?
So today we're talking about Sagittarius. I'm just waiting for a couple of people to join me in the live because I do stream this live. I just have to open up a different stream for it to go through because I'm zooming on my phone, not on my computer. Okay, so let's get this party started. All right, I just want to see who's here. All right, so yes, I got people here. All right, perfect. Okay, so hi, wake up. I did see you girls earlier. My moderators were waiting for me patiently. Thank you, B Rabbit and Gabriella as well. Wake up says hi. Christy says hi, Riley.
Hi, ladies. How y'all doing?
All right, so I think I'm all set. Geez, that was a record breaker. I've never had to set up this quick. I mean, besides us being a little late, I mean, sorry. But anyway, for those who are viewing me not live, welcome. Riley and I have been doing the insight and information for all 12 zodiac signs. So right now we're up to the 9th house. We're up to Sagittarius. And so if you're looking for the other signs prior to Sagittarius, they're out there. It's done. And that's that. I hope I don't look too dark. Anyway, so that's that. So Jupiter rules you, my darling Sagittarius, the biggest planet in the solar system with like 69 moons, as far as I know. They also have like 2 of the biggest moons, if I'm not mistaken. I know Riley will get down into details when it comes to that. But I did name you the God complex for a reason. There is a huge reason why I called you that. But Riley, do you want to start off with anything cute and sweet for my Saggies before I go down and deep and dirty with them?
I'm gonna let you have this one today. Go ahead, do your thing.
You want me to get deep down and dirty right away?
I want to watch you work. Go ahead.
Right away. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do this right away. Okay. No sweet talk. Which is so funny because one of the things that I was going to talk about with Sagittarius is how blunt they are. So, but I'll get to that later because I happen to be a Sagittarius with a very blunt mouth and no filter. Hi, Tanya. I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. Okay. Wake Up says, I can't wait to hear this because I have no understanding about my opposite sign, Sagittarius. Chrissy, be nice to us, Saggies. She has 4 Sagittarius placements. I have 3. So you're ruled by the 9th house very strongly, Christy. That's a strong 9th house placement. All right. So yes, before I get into like the God complex, which is I named it that for a reason because I wanted to go back to Greek mythology or world mythology. So to understand Sagittarius and the meaning behind the God complex, I do have to go back to history, to mythology. So I want to do like a brief summary of the family tree when it comes to Zeus, because that's where we're going to end up. We're going to end up with Zeus. Zeus is the Greek mythology king of the gods, ruler of Jupiter. Okay, so before I end up with Zeus, let's go all the way to the beginning. So before Gaia, before time, before space existed, there was Chronos, not Cronus, but Chronos. Chronos is Father Time. And then there's Anunnaki. Anunnaki is destiny. So between these two energies, they created Gaia, along with other primordial gods. Gaia being the most popular, the other gods being, dark or more alien-like. Gaia is the goddess of the earth. She is Mother God, okay? Or Mother Earth, I should say. Not Mother God, but goddess of the earth, Mother God. So she created, or she produced, 3 gods. So Mother Earth produced Father of the sky, Father of the ocean, or God of the ocean, and God of the mountains. Those 3 gods. So Father of the sky, or God, the Father of God of the sky, I should say. Father sky, God of the sky. I don't know why I can't get that straight. Is Uranus. Uranus is the OG, triple OG, Father sky, God of the sky. Uranus, which rules Aquarius. So a lot of people would say, well, I thought Aquarius is the one that had the grandiose God complex. And yes, they do. So I know that it may confuse other people. Like, I thought the 11th house is represented by the God complex. They are, but in different ways. But because Uranus is the original Father Sky, because Uranus is the original God of sky, along with Gaia and along with Uranus, they produced the 12 Titans. Now, the 12 Titans also came with the Cerberus, not Cerberus, but Cyclops, my bad, Cyclops, which is the one-eye monster. Then we have, oh my God, what's his name? It's the monster with all heads and all arms. I can never pronounce his name. Let me see if I could find it, but it's called oh God, I'm not even gonna go and look for it. It's a long word. Let me see if I could, for those who are really like Greek mythology geeks, I don't want to disappoint them. So let me look for the name. The Hecatoncheires. Okay, got it. The Hecatoncheires. So the Hecatoncheires are the monster with like all heads, like many heads. I think 50 to be exact. 50 heads, 50 arms. Along with Cyclops and the 12 Titans, these creatures, these gods and goddesses came from both Gaia and Uranus. All right, so here we begin the age of the Titans. Wake up, thank you for the super chat. And B Rabbit. Thank you, B Rabbit. All right, okay. Now let's see what we could say about the Titans. The Titans came the first generation of gods, the first generation of goddesses, including the ocean, the god of the ocean, the goddess of the rivers, the god of light, the goddess of the ether, Helios, which is the sun, Selene, which is the moon, as well as Kronos. Now this is Kronos, Saturn, the popular Kronos that ate all his children besides Zeus comes along, and Rhea. All right, so these are the Titans. These are the first generational gods, the first generational, or I should say in this case, the Titans would be the second generation. The second generation Titans is the most popular one. It's the more Greek mythology. It's the one that you usually hear, right? Because this is where Hades is from. Like Hades is like Pluto, Poseidon is Neptune, Demeter is now in replacement of Gaia is Demeter, who is Mother Earth, and Zeus, which is Jupiter. Of course, there's others, The generation goes on and on. I mean, these primordial gods, they start at the beginning, but there's generations after generations. So I'm just giving you like brief summaries of these family tree line. Okay, I'm not really going into the entire tree line of the family because it's a lot. I mean, we're talking about, again, witches. You know, I had mentioned Medusa. We're talking about as well, you know, demigods. So the first demigod that was produced was Pandora. Pandora was the first demigod ever produced by these gods, by the Titans. She was a woman, first woman, half human, half god. So that's what you call a demigod. But after this, you know, Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, you know, at this time, Zeus's siblings were inside of Kronos, because Kronos, if you know the story behind Kronos, which is Saturn, the third generational god of sky or father time, swallowed his children because of a prophecy by one of the witches. One of the witches, Greya, which is the witch that shared, the three witches that shared one eye, but could see the future. Because of their prophecy, Kronos did not want to be overthrown. This is Saturn. Now we're talking about Saturn. Did not want to be overthrown. So what happens in this case is that in Greek mythology, they said that he swallowed all his children and imprisoned Cyclops and the Hecatoncheires, which are the demons and the monsters. And Gaia was not very, you know, happy with this. And neither was Rhea. And so they had, you know, tried to plan something out to see, you know, because Kronos is now out of control. Okay, Saturn is out of control. So they go and they take Zeus, which is the youngest out of all the siblings, and they hide Zeus in the mountains. So Zeus grows up to be, you know, older, and with Rhea, his mother, they come up with a plan to get all his siblings back and overthrow Cronus. And so the prophecy ends up coming true, because in the end, yes, Kronos does get overthrown and Zeus becomes the new king of gods. So there's this, the god, the new god, right? Along with his wife, Hera. Hera was a witch. So we have Zeus and Hera. Now, these are the king and queen of the Olympians, the king and queen of the final generation of the gods and goddesses. Hera is the queen of the goddess and the goddess of women. So these are the two energies that represents Jupiter. Okay, this is the grandiose God complex. You know, this represents abundance, this represents expansion, this represents luck. This is God, this is Jehovah, this is Obatala, this is you know, the master, the provider. Okay, so understand that Jupiter is looked in that manner. Okay, has God of sky, the new God of sky. All right, and from there I'm just going to end it, because that's where it really, the Greek mythology really ends. Of course, you know, Hera and Zeus had their offsprings, you know, including Hermes and which is the god of messenger, and so many others. But I'm going to stop there because we want to stop at Zeus, because Zeus represents you, my Sagittarius. All right, so if you understand this, you'll understand the psychology behind Jupiter, you understand the energy behind Sagittarius, and the ninth house, the energy and the psychology behind the ninth house, okay, that God complex. And, you know, your polar opposite sign is Gemini. And I wanted to talk about Gemini because Gemini pulls from the polar opposite of its sign, which is Sagittarius. So both Gemini and Sagittarius will pull from each other because they're polar opposites. So Gemini is really good with playing with ideas, while Sagittarius is more likely to bring the idea to life. So understand that how the sexy, charming, brilliant zodiac signs, which is Sagittarius, and Gemini work, okay? Because Gemini, even though you're not ruled by Jupiter, you are sure damn part of the family tree, okay? You are Zeus's son, or and you know, among other ones. So you also, Gemini does also have a God complex, you know, and you saw this with Trump, former President Trump, who had that God complex of like, no one could do nothing to me. You know, Ted Bundy, a Sagittarius. Ted Bundy was a serial killer, and he had fans, women throwing at themselves at his feet. Cops, he was charming cops. Men wanted to be him. Women wanted to be with him. And he got away with, you know, escaping twice from jail, if I'm not mistaken, because they trusted him so much. You know, this is again Sagittarius's energy, the psychology of Sagittarius, the charming, brilliant, sexy people of the zodiac signs. You know, I was recently watching. I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to go to Riley. I was recently watching a documentary on Dylan Farrow. Dylan Farrow is the adopted daughter of Woody Allen. And this is an HBO documentary that I just recently saw. If you see the documentary, you would also see the God complex behind Woody Allen, because that's the energy that I'm also speaking of, the God complex. He thought he would get away with, you know, sexually abusing his daughter. And he did, not only just because he came from money, but he really thought he could get away with it. These people, these Gemini, Sagittarius people, they, out of all the zodiacs, these two polar opposite are most likely to get away with murder. Understand that energy, understand that psychology, and you will understand both Gemini and Sagittarius. Jamie Lannister. Another one that I want to compare Sagittarius energy to. If you watch Game of Thrones, for those who watch Game of Thrones, Jamie Lannister is another one. Jamie Lannister in Game of Thrones embodies the Sagittarius energy, in my opinion. What do you think, Riley?
I'm processing it. I didn't think about that.
I'm just asking if Jamie Lannister embodies the energy of a Sagittarius, because he was the charming one that got away with killing the king, and no one did nothing about it.
Yeah, he definitely has a way about him and moves in a very untouchable way. And then he also has moments of he can be righteous and knowledgeable on things. The Sag, it can be very, very, remember, it can be tricky. Remember, the polar opposite, like you mentioned a few seconds ago, is Gemini, which is the trickster. The Sag, you see, Sag, the reason why the Sag is one of the few signs that has so many contradictions, but they're contradictions that you almost be like, you know what? I can get that. I understand that. Because the Sag, even though it's still a fire sign, but it's a mutable fire sign. And mutable fire is the type of fire that can be managed. You know, that Aries fire, that lights up the solar system and whatever the case. And the Leo fixed fire is the heat that we can semi-stomach because it keeps us alive. We can't get too close to it, but it can get close to us enough to keep us alive. And it's the sun in our solar system. So it's somewhat tangible. But the Sagittarius fire is a little bit different because that mutable fire you're dealing with, let me give you an example on the top of my head. Imagine when you rub two sticks together. And you rub the sticks together, it lights. Or you flick a match. You know, a bonfire, as I told you before, like a bonfire. It's fire that appears to be manageable. But you have to be careful with that statement because the hypocrisy of that statement, the contradiction of that statement is, can you really manage fire? Can you really manage fire? And if you can, for how long? You gotta keep watching. You gotta stay over it. You can't just put it down. You have to be very careful with mutable fire because mutable fire is like the punch you don't really see coming. It can be sneaky, tricky. Which goes into the Sagittarius energy and personality. And Sagittarius, they, on one positive side, is that they're extremely honest about the way they feel. The Sag is so honest to the point where I'm starting to believe people cannot handle their honesty. They're blunt. And they don't know why everybody else isn't blunt. They have a hard time trying to understand why can't you just be the way I am? I'm speaking truth. Why does it matter if I hurt your feelings? And sometimes when they realize that they don't quite fit in with the world's views about how honest they are, they have also the ability and mastery of living inside their mind. The Sag can be very internal and very internalized in their mind. But they need stimulation. That's why Sagittarius is the half man, half horse, because they desire to travel, the curiosity to see new things. You will find a Sagittarius, man or woman, those are the ones that you ever see somebody go on vacation by themselves, that's that Sag energy. The desire to learn new things, degrees of detachment. Remember that polarity of Gemini, and plus, not to mention, Sagittarius like their space too. They're very, very particular who they want in their circle. And you better believe one damn thing. If a Sagittarius gives you their heart, you better believe you earned it. Because they don't just go around emotional attaching to people. They just don't do it. And I'm going to give you a little bit of another thing about that. If they may be all into you, but they can leave you just as fast as they was into you and mean it. They can detach themselves as much as they can love you. Almost to the point where it's like, she never really loved me. Well, he never really loved me in the first place. No, they did. They really did. But when they begin to see you not adhere to what they have that switch that allows them to be able to maneuver at a different energy and capacity with that sign, So that's why, remember, what does a horse do? A horse roams. It's designed to be free. And I'm not talking about a horse that's domesticated in a farm. Those are kind of like bred from small, but like a black stallion. The horse that you can't tame, that like to run free and just ride. That's the Sagittarius energy. So when they decide to go outside of that, you've really done a really good job. And one thing about Sagittarius, especially particularly the women, is if they smell that you're not on their level, because Sagittarius love intelligence. If you want to make a Sagittarius fall in love with you, similar to a Gemini, intelligence, travel, and take their curiosity and expound it, and make them be like, what's next? Always have a plan, always spontaneity. They love that. They love to feel like it is not too rigid all the time. But as far as strength is concerned, with the women, you have to constantly be strong with them because they will bully you too. If they know, they'll get tired of you too. They'll get tired of misleading. So you have to let them know from the gate, be strong with them too. But don't be strong in the sense of I have to use my force to control you, because then they'll leave you alone too. But strong in the sense that you have an energy where you bring things to the table and a lot to offer that appeals to their curiosity, and then they will gravitate towards you. And because it's never a dull moment. I have a Sagittarius friend who was having some financial issues, and she came to me for advice. And I gave her step-by-step blueprint. And she's looking at me in my face while I'm giving her this. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, no, I'm listening to you. In my mind, like, oh man, she's just bullshitting me. She's just into me. She's not into what I'm trying to teach her. Man, you tell you something, this girl. This girl took everything that I told her and ended up getting a house in 2 months. That's the sad tendency. That mixture of good luck, when I say good luck, I don't mean luck in the sense of their ability to know how to prepare themselves at the right time in the right place and put it in motion. That's how I define luck. They know how to maneuver in that aspect. But they will follow and they will do if it's beneficial and if it appeals to their curiosity. And you have to love them for that. They're not boring. You know, you hang out with Sagittarius, you might get in a little trouble, but it'd be worth it though. You have a good time. You're like, the word, when I look at the Sagittarius, I look at the phrase, you only live once. Do it. You know. But you can go ahead if you want to expand on what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about their bluntness as well. Because Sagittarius, they do represent philosophy. That's one of the things they represent. So they have very strong opinions and they have very strong perception. You don't really want to challenge these people when it comes to their strong opinions and to their perception. I'm not saying all Sagittarius are like this, but if you do challenge them or if you do oppose them, they can make you go home and cry. So be very careful. If you're too emotional, Sagittarius may not be the person for you. I'll tell you that right now, because they have no filter. Like I said earlier, they can be severe, they could be arrogant, they could be authoritative, they could be political incorrect people. I love cross-referencing shows and movies because that's what I do. But one of the scenes in have you ever seen A Few Good Men, Riley, with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise, the court scene? Remember when in the court scene and he's like, I want to know the truth. And Jack Nicholson's like, you can't handle the truth. You ever seen A Few Good Men?
I remember that. You know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's in the courtroom and Tom Cruise is trying to, extract information, which is the truth from him. And Jack Nicholson finally just does just literally tells him the truth, whether it's going to, get him arrested or not. He doesn't even realize he's about to get arrested for telling the truth. That's how blunt and severe they can be. But it can be a slap in the face to someone that's very emotional.
I'm going to add on to that because you're very correct. Remember in the movie Troy with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I saw a few bits of it.
Because Brad Pitt, he actually is Sagittarius himself.
Yes, Brad Pitt is a Sagittarius.
And Brad Pitt, there's a scene where he says, "Are you gonna fight him? He's so much bigger than you." And he says, "I'm not afraid of him." I'm paraphrasing. He said, "I would be afraid." And he says, "That's why nobody will ever remember your name."
Yes. That's the true Sagittarius.
Right. See, the Sagittarius and the Leo, remember, you're dealing with, the Aries is the baby arrogance. Well, no, sorry. Aries is more of the baby, me, but it's an innocent type of fire. in a sense of dangerous but innocent, because you can still hurt somebody unintended. This Leo is a semi-adolescent type of fire. You ever see, like, how you see people in high school, the girl over with the mirror in her hand, or she's doing her hair, or the guy, the jock dude, who just thinks because he's just, that dude, everybody should just kiss his behind, sports players. That's like the Leo type of fire energy. But see, the Sag is a little different because that's a maturation. It's almost like I'm older. I'm a little older than those two. You know what I'm saying? They precede me. So not only am I going to be slightly arrogant or have a God complex, I can verbally defend it. I can explain why I'm better. You know what I'm saying? If you bring that out in them. But in my experiences, if you have intelligence and you can appeal to them, they really won't show too much of that. And one thing about the Sag is different than 5 areas in the sun and different than the areas in Leo is if you come at a Sag with a certain amount of strength and respectful force, they will intellectually kind of like back down a little bit. They have a little bit more cognitive that they know they're probably going a little bit too far. They can kind of see it a little bit more than other fire signs can. They're that sign is a little bit more evolved. Off note though, I'm gonna say this to people in the chat room. If you're going to gamble, you're going into a casino, bring a Sagittarius with you because they win. They know how to win. They just got that gift. Every sign has that certain thing with them that makes them stand out. When it comes to the Sag, they know how to win. They're winners. They win for them. They win. And when they lose, they still win.
Yeah. It's a planet of good luck and fortune.
If you go, bring a Sag. Go ahead. Russian roulette with Sag, they're gonna win. If they don't win that day, bring them another time. You get back what you lost. They just, y'all know what they know what I'm talking about. All the time, you don't really hear Sagittarius with too many sob stories. I mean, they've been through things like everybody. They have their trials in life, like everybody else has their trials in life. But they usually can find a way to maneuver around it, like Jay-Z type of thing. You know what I mean? They know how to take Tiffany Haddish. People have been through hard times and just know how to find a way. What's Jay-Z's nickname? Lucky Lefty.
I didn't know that.
There you go. He left-handed, but I think Lucky Lefty. So they just know how to find a way to be successful, and sometimes they get hated on for it. But I admire it. I admire as a fire sign myself. I admire the maturation in their behavior because they smooth with it. Whereas I'm a little bit more, I could be a little bit more blunt and a little bit more firm. People can't take me sometimes because I say things because I'm saying things in a way where I'm thinking as a fire sign, you're supposed to know this already. Like, come on, like, what are you doing? The Sag is a little bit more cool. He's a little bit more like coy with it. Like, yeah, you're supposed to know what you're doing, but I'm gonna give you a chance to do it again. Whereas me like, what are you doing? The Sag just knows how to maneuver. They have a certain charm. Like I said earlier, that match, that fire. It's not explosive. See, if I said to you right now, Leonore, there's a fire in the house behind you, right? You'd be like, okay, you trying to find out how the hell to put it out. But if you lit a candle in your house, you really wouldn't stress it. You know what I'm saying? People leave candles want to leave the house and come back because you don't understand. You respect it. You can It's manageable to you. But sometimes, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna tie it all together for those that may not be sure where I'm going. Look at a cigarette lighter. Innocent fire, but it's burnt down buildings. Cigarette lighter, cigarette butts, I should say. Pardon me. Cigarette butts, people have smoked and dropped it and burned the whole house up because they didn't manage it the right way. You know? So you have to be don't sleep on that sign. Don't think they're quiet because they're weak. You know, and the thing about it is they love, see, the reason why I admire the Sag is because the Sag knows how to meditate in their own mind without even necessarily closing their eyes. They can sit in rooms isolated for hours, coming up with ideas, not even knowing they're doing it. Isolation. And that's why they come out so wise. So even though they may have that complex that they're great, I mean, they kind of earned it in a way. They don't just say they're great, and you can't see. You can see that. Sagittarius will tell you that they're great, but you can see their work behind it, though. You'll see them able to get great jobs or hit fortunes or know worldly things. They have a little bit of understanding of things. There are other levels of intellect that they need to work on, but they have a strong foundation that's matched with the energy to put it in motion. See, that fire can fuel that intellectualness, that confidence that they have. You know, okay, I don't want to overtalk you.
Yeah, well, that's what the ninth house does represent. Colleges, universities. The ninth house represents church. It represents gurus. So interesting that you went into like the meditative energy of Sagittarius, because they are considered the guru, the sage. Also they represent crisis in consciousness. So this is pulling from the sign before them, which is Scorpio. Now, Sagittarius, understand that you have psychic powers because you come from the energy of Scorpio, a water sign, a fixed water sign, who's intuitive, and they have X-ray eyes. A Scorpio has X-ray. These people could stare you down and feel your energy without saying one word. But you, Sagittarius, you coming from Scorpio's energy could see and will speak it. Okay, so that's one ability that you have, that psychic ability, that psychic power that comes from the house before that, which is Scorpio, is one of the reasons why you're probably, I would say, have better control of your psychic ability than a Scorpio does. I'm not gonna lie. I think because you could see and you could detect, feel energy, you could astral project, because that's another thing that the ninth house represents, is foreign travel, international travel. So your mind could expand. So when Riley was saying, bring a Sagittarius to a gambling, situation, it's one of the reasons, because they could psychically predict what's going to happen next and talk it.
Absolutely. And I want to, Sagittarius woman, sometimes she may try to understand the world because she has a lot of male qualities, masculine qualities, I should say. She's masculine. Sagittarius, sometimes they think like men. Sagittarius, they can be players too now. They can have 2 or 3 dudes, and they may never catch them. But if you catch them, they're gonna be like, "Oh well, you got me." They're not gonna be trying to over apologize or beg you too much. Even if they're hurting inside, they rather cry alone than look weak. And they also have a weird, because they're very internal in a lot of ways, like that meditative sleep. A Sagittarius is like they sometimes like a need to know basis type people. They're not going to tell you if you talk to a Sagittarius, they may not just even though that's one thing I can say about them. They may be very honest and blunt, but not necessarily. They might not necessarily gossiping unless they pull from the Gemini polarity. If they're not pulling from Gemini polarity, remember the opposite. They may be very short spoken and not say too much. Less is more with them at times. Not that they can't speak, not that they are fluent, but they're comfortable in mental solitary as well. And they're not gonna let you see them. They're not gonna let you see them be too weak. They're not gonna let you see them fold. They don't like that. They don't like that. That's the the strength in them. I had another Sagittarius person. We went out to a bar, and she started talking about her personal situation or whatever, and she just started crying. And I didn't console her. I didn't hug her. None of that. All I did was just watch her because I know the science. I'm not going to console her. Time went by 2-3 minutes. Face dried up. Go right back to partying. She goes, every time I see her, I always cry because she knows I'm understand her, but I'm not going to try to baby her. She might have been like, oh, baby, that would turn her off because see, that's like, that's the masculine part of it. Console me, be there for me, but don't get too mushy. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they have a heavy influence of Cancer or Pisces, it might water that down a little based on their placement. But if they have masculine like Libra or Aquarius in their houses, strong placements, nah, it's not gonna happen. I like Sagittarius people though. Sometimes they could be a little bit what I don't like about them is this though.
Is what? You don't like what?
About to, a lot of good things about y'all. And now I'm about to say what I don't like about y'all is they have a hard time with accountability. Sometimes when you get to them and you have the way they need to, they don't like. They think sometimes saying that they're wrong is a sign of being weak, or the God complex kick in. It's like, why do I have to apologize? I did what I did, and that shit right there. This is why they have a lot of problems. A lot of women hate Sagittarius men. You get more complaints about Sagittarius men in relationships than you do about Aries. Because what happens with the Sagittarius, see, that's how the Sagittarius man, he knows how to get into your head. That silent but deadly dangerous, and not like a Capricorn silent, more like a playful. Sagittarius would take you on a boat ride, take you fishing out in the middle of the lake, this you and her, right? And then not call you for a week. And then when you call, you're like, what happened? Mr. Sag? She's like, hey, how you doing? Nah, it's a couple things, it's busy. He's not even gonna apologize for it. Because in his mind, when he's with you, he's with you. Nobody else was interfering when he's with you. So when he's not with you, do the same thing. Give my space. Let me have my round. Let me have my internal. You know what I'm saying? Let me roam free. When I'm not with you, I'm the horse. I'm free. When I'm with you, I'm the man. Half man, half horse. What have you gonna get what you with me today? So a lot of women who really look for relationships, long relationships with Sagittarius men, be mindful of that. Because they give you a good time. Fire signs in general give you a good time, but the Aries and the Sag can be the most dangerous. The Leo, believe it or not, even though they have their complex with shit too, they can be a little bit more fixed and situated because they love to be admired and adored. Sag and Aries, we like it, but it's like, thank you, but all right. Sag is like on another level up. At least with the Aries, like a baby, you can play with it and keep its attention, and then the Sag is more like, yeah, okay, We're gonna have fun, but I ain't, and then I'm not gonna stick around necessarily. Come on, man. JD had a pretty woman, but Beyonce was a pretty woman. One of the prettiest women, they say one other prettiest woman, popular pretty. I mean, I know women pretty hard, but popular speaking, one of the pretty popular women in the world or in this time frame, this decade, in this era. And he cheated on her. Then rapped about it in songs and shit, thinking that made up for it. And you know what she did? What did she do? Made a whole goddamn album about his cheating. But she ain't go nowhere though.
No, she's Virgo.
That's what I'm saying. It's because see, and he made a song in one of his albums. I think it's called Just Lost One. He talks about in the first few 16 bars about how Beyonce works too much and how like he admires her for it, but he kind of don't want her to do it, like because he wants to be about him a little, but he respects the discipline and the intellectualness of ethic, not necessarily her brain, but her ethic, intellectuality. He respects it, and how she remember she's traveling all over the world. She's all over the world. See, Sagittarius, they don't mind that because they want their space. See, because a Virgo Sagittarius, that's not really even compatible, to be honest with you. But because of the fact that they travel all over the world, they're not on each other's face every 24/7, that is a bonus for them too, as far as him. Because they're not really latchy people. And they're not really like,
clingy.
Clingy. There you go, clingy.
Yeah, I have problem with men because of that. The way I portray myself in relationships where I love long period of silence. I feel comfortable with long period of silence. I feel comfortable with long period of space and not seeing the other person every day. As a matter of fact, I get triggered if I have to see my partner every day. So I tend to be in relationships, not all the time, but most of the time, I tend to be in relationships where they're either long distance relationship. I'm okay with long distance relationship. I'm okay with friends with benefits relationship, and they last for years. I have friends with benefit relationship when I was younger, obviously, that lasted for years. And I was okay with that. I have no problem with it. As far as calling, my partner and seeing how they're doing, yeah, that wasn't really my thing. I, will call you if I had to, but, if you call me, I'll definitely strike a nice conversation with you. We could talk for, for however long you want. I just, there's something, but Sagittarius represents a centaur. They're free spirited. They're optimistic, So, it's one of the reasons why they don't really like drama, because drama just ties them down. And, they're not like Leo, and Leo's like, drama. Sagittarius is like, they don't mind hearing your situation, but, cry real strong before you come see a Sagittarius and tell them your story, because they don't really want to see the waterworks. They'll give you advice and they'll be there for you. But, one thing about Sagittarius is that, that's what they're there for. They're just there to give you advice and to guide you, not to really wipe down your tears. So this is, one of the things, again, if you're too sensitive, do not go to a Sagittarius for advice, because they will lay it on you. So just cry a little bit about your situation, whether you're friends, whether you're lovers, your husband, wives, cry it out in the bathroom first, then go to them, because they may say something that you don't like. Because remember, these people are politically incorrect, offensive, arrogant, but they are also truth seekers. They tell the truth. They have no filter. And these are just little characteristic traits of Sagittarius. Sagittarius are more likely to date someone outside of their culture as well. or someone outside of their religion. You know, they just they're the ninth house just represents the world. You know, foreigners. You know, when it comes to sex, Sagittarius, you know, yeah, they could be a freak, both men and women. Sagittarius men and women are freaks. Mentally, they're freaks. Of course, men are more, you know, it's more acceptable for men to be seen this way than a woman. But don't get it twisted. You want to date a Sagittarius woman if you are a freak. Have you had any experience with like their mouth as far as like being offensive, Riley, or you know, in relationships with Sagittarius?
I dated a Sagittarius woman. Well, I'm not gonna say I dated her. We were just, you know, messing around, and you know, damn, should I even say this? I don't care. Okay. I dated a Sagittarius woman, and she told me. I said, I left her. You know what I'm saying? She's like, no, you can't leave me. It's not gonna be over till I say so. Which I internalized that, oh, you just didn't get a chance to do it first. But she eventually would have did it first. And I did it when I was younger. I was younger. But she was a freak. We used to do it on the job.
Yeah, well, like you said before, they don't consequences to them is like what is that?
Yeah. On the job. I mean, sure, and she didn't care. So they, you know, they're free spirited, you know. And I try to go back to, you know how Aries be like, you know, like the past is your past, the past is not my past. So like, hey, listen, you know, no, I'm not messing with you no more. You do this, cursing me out. I try to get back with her to see if I could. I didn't really want her though. I just wanted to see if I could get back with her. You know, but this is like 15 years ago. I was younger, so but yeah, she did it. And it was like she would give me a car, bring me food, go to City Island in the Bronx, she was nice, you know. But she was always nice to me. But I was always strong and kind of rough on her. Like I wouldn't let her get too far with me if I check her. You know how I am. I checked, you know. But she dated another guy after me, I heard, and got into it with that man. And she dead ass tried to run him over in her car because she caught him with somebody else. See, I didn't have those type of problems. See, but I know what he did though. I know what he did. He tried to manipulate her and get her where he wanted her to be, and she put her mind into him. And when he didn't want her like that anymore, the God complex kicked in. Like, you doing this to me? You doing this to me? Me? Rum, tell them nigga over. See, and I've dated Sagittarius women that, you know, like I said, I had different. I've dated a couple of them to see at different scales, and I will honestly say, speaking honestly, I can honestly say not all Sagittarius are created equal. I will say that because when you're an adventurous person, you might find adventure in China. Some might find adventure in Africa. Some might find adventure in Greece. Some might find adventure in Jersey. So their experiences are different, they're vast. But what keeps them tethered is that they all like to have experiences. So they're worldly people, you know. Not for nothing, you know, that Forrest Gump scene where he started running across country. I just felt like running. You know, they can do that. Or better yet, the people that follow behind Forrest Gump. Sagittarius energy. Let me just go with them. Let me just go. Fuck it. Let me just chip it out. You know? Let me just go. Fuck it. You know,
Don't even know where he's going.
don't even care. You know what I'm saying? I bet you if they did a statistic on passports and who has the most stamps and their birthdays, I bet you probably be Sagittarius or Gemini probably. And with an Aries probably honorable mention probably third. You know, it's just the, you know, or maybe a Pisces. I don't know. I'll think about that one. But this, that, get up and go and free spirit and life is love. But sometimes that can bite them in the ass too. Because you need to be around people, at least with the Scorpio or the Cancer or the Capricorn, you know, you get a little bit of like, you know, warning sign, or, you know, like, maybe we shouldn't do this, or should I not do this? You know, sometimes that keeps you out of a lot of trouble. That come on, it'll be fun. You only live once, shit can cost you a lifetime of shit. So you need that balance. You need somebody to put you aside, like, all right, you know what? We survived jumping in the lion's cage last week. We're not gonna do that shit again, no. You know what I mean? You know, we need somebody to pull and be like, all right, chill, bro. But chill, sis, too much. But as far as fun and a good time, shit. Man, listen. You know, I got a lot of, listen, to this day, I'm not even in my prime no more. But in my prime, nobody could outdance me or out-party me. Shit, ouch. Nothing that. None of that. I'm at my prime, I'm still good. In my prime, 2, 3, 4 days straight, no rest. That goddamn Sash can hang with you. She will party. She will get drunk. She will jump out the car, take a piss, pull over the car and take a piss and squat at people walking by. They don't care. It's just fun. Man, listen, they fun.
Yeah, no, they are, but that's pulling from the polar opposite of Gemini too, you know, because they're
Right.
just as wild and crazy and childish.
Mm-hmm.
So they do pull from that opposite. And then, you know, they play hard and they work hard. You know, that's one thing about Gemini, Geminis and Sagittarius, specifically Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put their all into it. And for those who do have Sagittarius in their chart or ninth house placements, understand that these placements, when you have Sagittarius, just having Sagittarius in your chart, there's going to be good luck. There's going to be expansion. There's going to be abundance. Okay. So depending what planet it sits on, or what house it sits on, you know, because the ninth house represents travel, foreigners, it represents colleges, scholastic, you know, guru, just, you know, higher learning. So when I say guru, I really want to say higher learning, because Sagittarius, you know, where Gemini is into a little bit of everything, want to learn a little bit of everything, Sagittarius would be the one that masters that energy, that would master, you know, that would get the, again, higher learning, because it represents higher learning. So for me, you know, I happen to be a 0 degree Sag, Scorpio sun, but 0 degree Sag. So that's, I do have a very strong Sagittarius sun placement. And I have my Venus in Sag. So to have,
that's
you
deep.
know, Venus, yeah, I have Venus in Sag. So I, you know, it kind of explains why I'm not married.
You've abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore.
Marriage is like, what? Do we have to get married? Do we have to live together? Do we have to follow the norms? Do we have to go, you know? But I'm not saying all Sagittarius are like this, but you know, because I have Sagittarius in Venus, and Venus represents relationships. Venus represents relationship, it represents income. So Venus is rules both Libra and Taurus. So Taurus represents income, Libra represents the relationships, all types of relationships, you know. So one thing about me in my life and having Sagittarius or the ninth house in Venus, it just really means that I've been very lucky to have people around me, all types of relationships. I am very free spirited, so I can't just, put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to one relationship. And not that I won't, because I do have other placements in my chart where I have to dedicate myself to the home and to my partner, and I'm okay with that. But, on the opposite end of the spectrum, my partner has to understand that I have other friends and associates and coworkers and exes that I want to talk to, that I want to hang out with, that I want to collaborate with. And that may be a little, a little bit of a trigger or a challenge in someone's relationship with a Sagittarius, because they know so many people, and they're one of the people that end up being friends with their exes, and they're okay with it. But their partners may not be okay with them being friends with the opposite sex, or whatever the case may be. But there's nothing really going on. Trust it. When the Sagittarius tells you, babe, there's nothing going on between me and that person, believe them, because 99.9% they are telling the truth. They don't want to. You think it's a lie? Because me personally, okay. Again, yes, it depends on some other placements. Me personally, I'm okay with telling someone the truth. It just depends on the relationship, I guess, the dynamic of the relationship, where it's going, where it is, is it evolved, is it not evolved? So yeah, not saying that Sagittarius can't lie, not Sagittarius, they'll hide things. They're okay with hiding things. But if you confront them with a question, I feel like it's kind of hard for them, for the most part, to really say, it's kind of like they'll divert the question or answer a question with a question. Does that make sense?
Well, that's why I was giving you that long binary frequency just now. Because what happened is the Sagittarius lives by, if you don't ask me, I don't have to tell you, so I'm not lying. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that they see that if this was court, they can say, well, you never told me. But what does the court say? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So just because you don't, I didn't know I was supposed to tell you, they play off that. They play off that angle of, I'm not going to offer too much information. But if you ask me, I won't lie. But I won't put you, I also will try my best not to put me in a position where you ask me that question. So they work around the parameters of that question so they don't even have to answer it. Make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, maybe I'm not saying I was always like this, because I do have strong Sagittarius in my chart, but I do also have Scorpio in my chart, so I could be very secretive. I just feel like, I don't know, a Sagittarius.
No, first of all, you were Scorpio first. You were Scorpio first.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I am very hush hush about a lot of things, but I can't help it. But if I wanted a deep conversation with someone, especially inside a relationship, and I don't know, maybe I'm just talking for myself. I don't know if there's other Sagittarius that will agree with me or not, but if you've come to a point in your relationship where honesty should be important, then it should be important. But of course it doesn't work that way, right? Unfortunately we don't communicate with each other in a relationship the way we should communicate with each other, and sometimes we're not honest with each other, because either we're hiding something from your partner, or we just want to disclose the full information, and we're just, straight out lying. But I just feel like Sagittarius are really the truth seekers, you know, and maybe not inside, so in the relationship, but outside of a relationship, they're ready and willing to look for that truth, and they will research and find the truth, because their opinion and their research and what they found out really matters, you know, their perception of the world and humanity, and wanting to give more to the world is kind of maybe what I'm saying when it comes to being the truth seeker, when it comes to Sagittarius. I guess
Agreed.
inside a relationship, maybe a whole different story.
No. I mean, but remember what I said previously. Not all Sagittarius are created equal. And remember, you are Sagittarius moon.
No, I'm
Moon,
Aquarius
right?
moon.
Aquarius moon, and you're Sagittarius rising, right?
I'm a Pisces rising.
So where's
I
your
have Sagittarius in my North Node.
Your North Node. I'm sorry.
Sagittarius in my North Node. I'm a cusper, and I have a Venus, and
Right.
I have Neptune in Sagittarius.
Right. I apologize. Yeah. Why not forget that so fast? I have no one day. All right. So you have that in your chart in certain aspects, but at the end of the day, when you're in your sound mind and body, the Scorpio energy is going to always win. If you're over emotional, then you're not sound mind and body. But if you're operating off your sun energy, but then again, like I said, Sagittarius isn't a liar. They just won't offer you too much truth. The Scorpio is secretive, not necessarily a liar. See, secretive just means I'm not just going to tell you, how was your day? It was fine. You know, I'm not going to ramp up my mouth like a Libra's going to do and just tell you everything on my day. You know what I'm saying? That's more of a Libra type of energy. Sometimes the Taurus too, if they trust you enough. But so the Libra, the Scorpio, and the Sagittarius, they do have a certain quiet mode for different reasons, though. See, the Libra, the Sag is not distrusting. He just doesn't feel, he feels the need just talking too much, because that might interfere with his mental solidarity that he likes to keep separate, just keep he or she strong. The Scorpio is more like, the secret to my secrets, it could be a secret to my heart. So to let you into my heart, and my secrets, it lets you into my heart, which means if I like you, I want you to like me. And you better like me if I like you, because I don't want to like you if you don't like me, because then I don't like that feeling of being like, I need to feel like, I want you to like me because I like you. So the Scorpio don't let you in because they don't want to have to attach themselves to you. Whereas the Sagittarius doesn't let you in because it pulls from their intellectual solidarity mindset. So it's the same behavior for two different reasons. Make sense?
Yeah. I agree with you. Scorpio is more of an emotional, solid, isolated person.
Isolated.
And Sagittarius just wants to be isolated because they're all up in their head and fantasies.
Right. Yeah. You notice as you get closer, ironically, you notice as you get closer to the end of the sign, the signs, you start to notice how, even though the Aquarius is, rules the legs, which has a lot to do with constant movement and motion. But when you get into Capricorn, you get into Aquarius and the Pisces, you start to see the spirituality emerge. And the Sag to me is like the beginning of the spirituality, but mental spirituality. That makes sense. It's the beginning of the mental spirituality. But then some can argue that Capricorns are not spiritual people because they're tangible people who like earthly things. But we'll get into that next time we talk.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, just to close it out, Sagittarius is a fire sign, and fire signs are very they have amazing intuition. People give it to the water signs, but fire signs are also very intuitive. Fire signs are the type of people that can transcend and transform their emotions into something positive. Whether it's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, these people are very intuitive, with starting with Aries, the fire sign, the ram, the head, that when the ram just, bumps head with the other ram, the Aries, their psychic intuition comes from their head, whereas with Leo, it comes from the heart because it represents the heart. So they're very intuitive emotionally. And then the Sagittarius is like very grounded. So, but when I mean grounded, it's very like you said, spiritual. It's more evolved. They've taken the Aries and Leo and combined both emotion and mental and made it more spiritual, more one, godlike. Yeah.
Totally. I totally agree with you. It makes perfect. It all of it. Only that all the signs are. It's just elements. Elements. That are trying to create balance. It's a constant balance in one internal self, a constant balance even in space. Space is not a peaceful place that people think it is. That's a misconception. You have fire and meteors and shit flaring all over the place and heat from all the planets go. Space is a lot of shit going on up there. But even in this, it's organized confusion and chaos. And as above, so below. So if the space is chaos and confusion, trying to find balance, and as above, so below, so is the human body, the human spirit, constantly trying to find balance. Too much greed, or am I too helpful? Am I too selfish? Can I love two women? Can I only love one woman? Am I working too hard? Am I eating too right? Am I exercising too much? Am I meditating? Am I? It's always constantly internal. Remember, the average brain has 40 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thinking. So that just means it's the constant trying to find that internal balance, just like the universe does. That's why the sun in our solar system is our balance. But that's just the sun for this orbit, these 9 planets. Shit. What about the whole universe? Other suns all over the place. So our life, our struggle, our peace of mind, our love, all of it is just trying to seek that Libra energy in the 6, that middle ground.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went there. I just had this moment. I had a moment. I started to go there. I don't know how I started doing that, but I had a moment.
Yeah, well, that you just sounded very, very Sagittarius. Right? Yeah. The philosophy just came out of you.
It's my North Node, though. Don't forget.
That's right. You have a North Node is Sag. Wake Up, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh my God, thank you for being so super generous. Thank you, Z. I've been looking at your comments, folks. So I appreciate you coming in. Sun Wukong, I appreciate also that you stopped by. Gabriella, And for those who, have been here watching, not saying anything, thank you so much for joining. Riley and I are going to open our Patreon page, and we're going to have more of this content. We're going to have, astrology content, compatibility, as far as zodiac signs are concerned, questions and answers, and just, relationship advice. We'll get into relationship. Riley and I do love talking about the ins and out of relationships, whether it's in the home or outside of the home. And thank you so much for those who really donated today. I appreciate always your support, and so does Riley.
Yeah, we can't wait to get this thing off, ground running. I mean, because I think that when you get to the Patreon, you're gonna see what you see. If you like what you see now, you're gonna have to times it. It's a whole other level. We start talking about relationships and motivation and self-help. We're gonna really tap into almost a form of hypnosis, in the sense of we're gonna bring you guys to a level that you go like, oh wow, Lee and I have studied so many different things for so many different decades. So what you're getting a lot of good stuff now. That's it's fluffy, it's cute, informative, but there's layers that we really want to give you if you guys really interested in it. I don't want to say fluff. It's not. I don't mean fluff in the sense that what we're giving you now. Fluff. I mean that it's something that you probably can get from opening up a book. But there's different levels to things that you will be able to have access to and experience that will really change how you think. Because we're gonna connect it to how it connects to the world, universe, spiritual law, and it's all gonna make a lot more sense. It's a higher level. You agree,
Yes.
Leonora?
Yes. Thank you for extending that. Our reasoning behind doing the Patreon page, because this is why we're doing it.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, next week Riley and I are going to be working on Capricorn and Aquarius. So we're going to do the insight and information for Capricorn and Aquarius. I can't wait. I love those two energies. I love those two energies, Capricorn, Aquarius, because I need you guys to understand that there is a psychology behind these signs. Whether Riley and I talk about the nature aspect of it, or Greek mythology, like I did today, or just in general, their representation, of their energy in the houses. So I'm very excited to do those two signs. Again, if you're a Capricorn or an Aquarius, or if you have those houses in or placements in your birth chart, or if you know anyone, meet us next week live if you can for Capricorn and Aquarius.
I have a Capricorn theme already. I already had it in my mind already. You already hit me already.
What is it?
Capricorn. Show me the money. Show me the money.
Yeah.
That's Capricorn, baby. Show me the money.
Yeah. Well, at this stage, Capricorn represents now almost getting into retirement, So
right.
when I talk about the ages of the zodiac, at this stage, Capricorn now is thinking about, yes, show me the money. I want to see my 401k. How much can I get before I retire? So yes, it's a very materialistic energy. Yes. Career, legacy, recognition.
But still regal though. I love the Capricorn's regalness. They almost have like that. You know how like remember how like it Coming to America, the first one, when the dude was rich, you were not. He is the man beneath me.
Yes, that's very much Capricorn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like, how dare you? You know what I mean? But I can respect it in certain aspects. But there's more to a Capricorn than just money. They have a certain level of morality with them a certain code that they have, you know. And if you don't break that code, you got a friend for life. But we'll get into that next time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Riley. And thanks everyone again.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Can't wait to see you soon.